It's the eye of the tiger. Something, something in the fight. Got to get out. All right, I'm sorry. Oh, listen. Oh, I got to turn that off. But they're going to hit me. They get you with your copyright strike. Good morning, everybody. I know I haven't acted silly on this channel. I act silly on my other channels. But anyway, we won't go there. Good morning. Gerard Greening. Greening, West Texas. GGWT. I'm going to show you guys some of the garden beds. So, mind you, I have not had a whole lot of time to do any gardening or growing. That actually, the first year, it's kind of doing this stuff as a hobby, right? I'm just doing it because I'm getting the Keurig going. I'm making a cup of coffee. I'm mostly gardening in between heavy labor because it actually is my go-to. You know, it's what I do that makes me happy, makes me calm. But I want to show you some of the grow beds and talk about greening the desert. Hopefully this isn't too long. Right, so step one coming out here was infrastructure. It's pointless to have a whole lot of food if you're dead. You know what? Goodness gracious. My cup almost fell. I'll show you what I'm doing. This is my water right here. It's my water dispenser. You know, slowly I'm evolving, so I'm filling up the coffee, my Keurig device, with water. Again, you know, slowly getting those creature comforts. When I first came out here, everything I was drinking came out of those, you know, supposedly BPA-free bottles, and I found a better water source, and I started drinking out of those gallon things, and I found a, you can hear the charge controller kick in. That's what that sound was. I'm gonna do 8 cups of coffee real quick. So yeah, and then now I've got my hot cold water selection. It's fresh, it's clean, it's filtered, it's not coming out of, you know, BPA free plastic. I hate plastic. We should not be using plastic to begin with. So while my coffee cooks up, I'm gonna go show you the first garden bed. Got a bunch of them out here, some more successful than others, right? When you're greening the desert, regreening dry lands, artificial desert. Now, listen, so people ask that definition. What is a real desert versus artificial desert? I mean, there is an actual classification of desert where they'll you know, it's based on rainfall, and there might be a few other factors. You know, when I use it, it's from a perspective of this is a place where you don't want to live. That's what I call a desert, a place where it does not rain much and you really don't want to live because it's not abundant. But, you know, this is an artificial desert. Out here you get 11 to 14 inches of rain. This year we got a lot more. Do not move to the desert and try to grow anything. A real desert. I got to get me a chair called a bucket. If you move to a real desert, all you're going to do is struggle. Don't do it. You know, I mean, if you live there, you got to do what you got to do. There's a lot of great information, like Jeff Lawton and some of the John Liu, some of the brothers that do Green in the Desert lectures. They're fantastic. I mean, those are professionals. If that's what you want to do, I'm not interested in that. I'll move to a dry land where it rains enough that you can have abundance and thrive, and flip it into an oasis by saving the water. So the first step in doing that is, well, you're going to get your butt out there. That's number one. Is building an infrastructure. You know, it's pointless to have food and abundance if you're dead. Don't die. Step one. So most of this year was building infrastructure. Hang on, I get creamer for my coffee from my brand new refrigerator. Dun, 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 dun. Look at this. I have a grown man size refrigerator, y'all. Look at that. That's beautiful. My other little one was, it was a little college. Well, that's what I use. You know, that's what it reminds me of. It was a little refrigerator I used. See, now it goes the charge controller kicking in again. You know, last time I had a little fridge like that, I was in college. So, so I'm slowly evolving. I mean, look at this, you know, evolution of it. I got my creamer. I got my favorite coffee machine, which was a donation from some good people. Really good pea. I married that woman. But they moved up. They upgraded. Got a real better coffee machine. This is, and they had no idea. This poor coffee machine had no idea. Off grid. So poor thing. All right. So we're moving forward. Right. Back to green in the desert. So water. So it's an artificial desert because it rains enough to not be a deserted land, a land where plants, animals, and people desert it because there's not enough to survive out there. It became artificial through a lot of different means, right? Depends on who you listen to and what theories you follow. You know, I'm kind of partial to all of them. I mean, they all sound legitimate. They all sound like they got a degree of the truth. But I think a lot of different things happen. There's my shed. It's my work shed. Y'all see it behind me? It's my screen porch. Now I have a workshop where I don't have flies attacking me. They're no longer a big deal. Mind you, they're pretty much done for the year. They're still here, but it's getting too cold for them to be out in mass. So the plague has come to an end in terms of, what is that? The plague of locusts, which is another thing. I actually do have locusts. Well, not locusts, but grasshoppers. So I'm going to show you this garden bed. So I got to switch hands a little bit. So you've got an artificial desert. You have enough rainfall, but the rain runs right off, right? You have land that no longer holds the water. What holds the water in most lands is the humus layer, right? It's microbiology. They break down the clay, the rock. They create humus layers and silt that absorb water like a sponge. So when it rains, most likely where you live, the water is absorbed into the ground and slowly trickles downhill, slowly waters the plants, and slowly refills aquifers and streams. When you go to an artificial desert, the water just runs right off. And so the only thing that can stay there are very, very dry, harsh dryness plant, drought tolerant plants, cactus, and there's different bushes that, they'll grow 3-4 months out the year during the rainy seasons. How we got here. So, a lot of different theories. I mean, one of the theories is, cattle grazing. We overgrazed and, the cows don't let trees grow anymore. We cleared the land. We took down all the trees, used the timber for building. Okay. So the trees never had a chance to come back. I'm not sure where it cut off. The video just cut off, and so overgrazing is one thing. So, but the trees never had a chance to come back because the cows are, they'll eat anything that's green that comes out of the ground that doesn't have massive thorns on it. Another theory is that we killed off the predators, right? Like if you ever look into Yellowstone Park and what happened there. So when you kill off the predators because you want a safe homestead, for your kids, or you're going after, wolf furs and pelts, then you kill the predator, which means that the elk and the deer can just do what the cows do, right? And they don't have to run. They can just sit there. There is no herd movement. They can just sit there and eat all they want because there are no predators coming after them. But either way, it destroys the trees, which take away the shade. When the shade is gone, only full sun plants can make it. And so a lot of your species are part sun and they're all gone. And even the ones that are full sun, they get no break, right? Because the soil and the tree is under just intense heat and sun all day long. They're not sharing, they're not growing into a forest. And so it's hard for the forest to restart. So what you're doing when you're greening the desert is you're actually becoming the soil. You're taking on the job of the soil. You're absorbing the water and slowly releasing it back to the plants. So you're using rainwater runoff from structures, ground, creating dams and swells, things to slow the water down so that it actually hydrates the land to allow the plants that are supposed to be growing here to start growing here again. So let me flip this one of these beds, but this is the ground here. This is a whole lot of clay, bentonite-ish clay. I don't know if it's calcium or sodium based. I've got my microscope. I haven't had time to play with that yet. I will in the future. But this is one of the beds. And so growing out here isn't, everything's got to be lush and that's what gardening is. No. Growing out here is finding out who does well where, you know? As an example, this is a papaya. She's doing well there. She's made it through 2 trips of me going back to Pennsylvania, once for 2 weeks at a time, and just didn't dry out. So what does it mean? This papaya has a root system that's tapped down into the water. That's well enough. Because the irrigation system, this is new. First time she went through the drought, didn't have that. The second time I had a little skinny black one back there, and this is what I'm doing now. Like in learning terms of drip irrigation out here, I don't want to do the thin lines. I want to do the 1/2-inch lines because, you know, clearing the water and filtering the water is a headache, and I do it, but something is almost always going to clog those little ones. So she made it. So good. She's good to go. Over here, this one didn't make it, which is good. So, you know, these are good signs. And so if you go around this bed, you'll see a lot of dead plants, you know, which are just broken down, chopped and dropped, and that is a rattlesnake. See this? I think that's a rattlesnake. Look at that. He's a cutie. I almost stepped on him. I'm sorry. Y'all see me jump? Yeah, that looks like, is that a Western Diamondback? She's a cutie. Anyway, so around this bed, there are a lot of different chop and drop, you know, leaves and branches, and these things are breaking down and they're absorbing water. Right there's a pear tree, and the pear tree's pretty much dropped most of its leaves because what it's doing is it's equating what it needs to actually grow right here. So it dropped a bunch of leaves to be in balance with its root system. So the root system, and I think I put this one probably 1.5 feet deep. And so 1.5 feet deep in the root system that it has with lots of good mulch, it's only going to have enough leaves to be balanced with that root system. So now it is in balance. And you can tell it's in balance. And I don't want to disturb the little snaky too much. Video keeps cutting off. All right. Because you can see the new budding that's starting to occur. So it dropped most of its leaves until it had enough leaves or had enough root system to support the evaporation from the leaves that it has. And now that it's in balance, it's starting to bud again. You know, and so what you're doing, if you go around the bed, you'll see all the different plants who've made it. A lot of them are overstory plants. I'm not going to keep long term. There's bean, you know, peppers, different things that are doing well and others that aren't doing well. But what you want is you want the right things growing in the right places, and the wrong things in the wrong places, you want them to go ahead and die out. And now this bed is established. Even a nice little agave doing well right there. And so you don't want another job. You know, you're green the desert. You need plants that know how to survive here, and they're put in the right places, and they tap into moisture layers and water that they need to survive. So, you know, that's one bed. I can take you through the rest of them, but I got to take a break. I got to deal with the snake. And all I'm going to do, I just got to relocate them. I don't want them getting too comfortable out here. So anyway, look at that. You know, that's why people watch live videos, although this is not a live video. You never know. Shoot. You never know, because the little rattlesnakes, you guys, are the most dangerous. Those are the ones that actually don't regulate their poison. Those are the ones that if they get you, they won't release a small amount. They'll release as much as they can, and that's extremely dangerous. So, you know, that's another thing to think about the desert. When you move out there, you got to know what you're doing. Don't be stupid. Anyway, this Gerard Green in West Texas Journal, October the 25th. You guys have a snaky day. All right, let this guy go. I checked the area. I didn't see any other baby rattlesnakes. I didn't see a sign of a nest. So, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and let this guy go. You know, people, there's so much to karma and energy. You know, it's easy to kill a baby rattlesnake, but why would you? It's easy to kill anything. We got to learn to start living in sync with the land and nature and being stewards of it and not just murdering things just because we can. So anyway, I'm gonna let this little guy go, but also I'm gonna let it go on my neighbors. Well, no, so let's be honest. I'm just joking. Nobody lives over there. Look at the field, right? Nobody's out there. So we're gonna let this little guy go. All right, sorry I ruined your day, buddy, but you know, you and I, we can't exist together. and let them roll. That's it. See his little rattle? That's the problem, is his rattle's not developed, and that's why I couldn't hear it. You know, that's the danger of a baby rattlesnake, is they don't have a developed rattle. Rattlesnakes don't want to bite you. They don't want to kill you. They don't want to murder you. But look how well he blends in. Isn't that just awesome? Anyway, it's a fun thing about living off grid. You never know what you're going to. But once again, I don't set my schedule. It does. And it's just a funny thing. Are we really ever free? You know, you live on grid, the Rockefellerian economic enslavement system sets your schedule. You live off grid, nature does. I had a bunch of stuff planned this morning, so I got to get back and get to it. Anyway, try to live in sync with the land, people. You can kill a bunch of stuff, but why would you? You know, that makes us no different than the bastards that came before us. Anyway, y'all have a great day.